Alright guys, today I'll be reviewing Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. This was my most anticipated coaster going into the park, and yeah, it did not even come close to beating Goliath, but that's not entirely this thing's fault. Goliath was disgustingly good, but this ride, it's good for what it is. I thought it could be on par with the other mid-tier RMCs, but it definitely wasn't, so I'll get into why in this review. So I'm going to start off by saying this right away. This ride looks like basically a Kitty Hakuge. Like, they have the exact same sort of color scheme. They look very similar pre-lifts, just this definitely seems like Baby Hakuge. And I think that might be the best looking coaster on the planet. It just looks stunning. This doesn't look as good because you don't have the water in the background. It's nowhere near as huge. But it's actually kind of funny to look at just because some of these elements and hills are so small that it's kind of just funny to look at. The theming itself is garbage. There is just pretty much nothing. There's a few posters in the queue, but I am not reading that tiny text when I'm dying and sweating in that hot queue. And we'll get into the queue next because, oh good lord, these might be the worst operations I've ever seen. It is atrocious. It is amazing to see how bad these are. It wasn't even a full queue. Like, it was downstairs, out. It wasn't to the entrance, but it was close. It wasn't a full queue, though. But it still took over an hour to get through this line. And the groupers had no clue what they were doing. There were constantly empty rows with one train when there could have easily been other people in those rows. It wasn't like they were trying to prevent it from overshooting the brake run. They just really had no clue how to group. The ops themselves were slow. The ADA policy is atrocious. Like, if the person with the disability wanted to ride in the back, then the other people in their party could go ride in the front row, which I think is the dumbest thing ever, because that's the most blatantly obvious way to abuse the system. It is crazy how they let people get away with things like that. I mean, I get you have to have an ADA policy, but it should not be that, that's for sure. But anyways, you get in these trains. I only rode this once because the line was so atrocious, and I'd rather just ride Goliath with a quarter of the weight. But yeah, I only got one ride on this. It was in the very back row, and I will tell you, we were assigned to row 11, and no one was assigned to row 12, so we just got in the back, and row 11 was empty. Like, that's an example of how bad the groupers are. But anyways, you pull down the restraints. They're normal RMC restraints. I actually really like them because the shin guards, you can hold the restraints up with them the whole time. And the ops are really staple happy, but again, if you use the shin guards, you can get a couple inches of room even if they're trying to jump on you. So you'll finally leave the station, and you hit the pre-lift. Like I said, this is just Baby Hakuge, and the pre-lift definitely shows that. It doesn't give any airtime for me personally, but it's cool. You get a little bit of lats, so nothing crazy, but it's a little fun way to start the ride. Then you head up the 100-foot lift hill. It's really small, but then you head down definitely the best part of the ride, which is the first drop, which is weird. I was definitely expecting the wave turn to be it, but this first drop actually packed a real punch, gave some good ejector, plus some laterals. I almost imagined this to more feel like a mini version of Iron Rattler's first drop. So yeah, that was a good way to start the ride. The valleys on this do absolutely nothing like most RMCs. I'll get that out of the way right now. And then you head into the reverse Cobra roll. I was anticipating this element a lot. And in the back, at least, you just get a little bit of float going into the first one. A little bit of floater lateral combination there. Then you turn around and hit what I thought could feel sort of similar to the death roll. It did not feel like the death roll at all. It felt basically identical to like Twisted Timber's barrel roll down drop, which is fun. It's like floater combined with good laterals, but it was nothing extreme. It was fun though. But then you hit the wave turn, and I was a little let down by this. I thought this could have really packed a good punch, but You get weak ejector on this, and it's lateral, so you're sort of diagonally ejected, but it is nothing even close to like Wildcat's Revenge's wave turns, or even Lightning Rod's first one. I do like that more even without the launch. It's a fun element, but nothing too special. Then you hit a little airtime hill, get a weak pop of ejector, and then you hit this little turn that doesn't really do a whole lot for me. And then you hit one more airtime hill before the final inversion, and this is the second best part of the ride in my opinion. You really get thrown here. It feels pretty violent, definitely feels like the Trick Track double up on Twisted Timbers almost. Then you hit the 0G roll. This is just really floaty and doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Kind of feels like the final 0G roll on Twisted Timbers. So nothing too special. You'll hit two little airtime pops here, and these look really good in POVs, but honestly, these are weak ejector here. Like, they're ejector, but barely, which was a little disappointing, and they're not sustained at all. Then you hit another nothing turn, then one last little ejector pop before coming into the brakes, not really getting any airtime. So yeah, that's your ride on Twisted Cyclone. Overall, I was a little disappointed. It's definitely the weakest I-box. It's more towards Jersey Devil, in my opinion, than the other mid-tier I-boxes. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I was spoiled by Airy Force the past day, but yeah, it just didn't pack the punch that the other I-boxes did, in my opinion. So for its final score, I'm going to be giving it an 8 out of 10, given it is a high 8. But yeah, it's fun. You're going to like it. It's a good time. It's smooth. It's an RMC still, but it's definitely the weakest of the I-boxes. So let me know what you guys think of Twisted Cyclone down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.